Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Bagus Panji Abdillah. My student number is C11 2019 02101. In this video, I'm gonna tell about the translation assignment, which is in my laptop. For a better view, let's see the screen recorder. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Again, my name is Bagus Panji Abdillah, and let's begin. In my video, there are 4 contents in this video. The first is how the translation process of Indonesian text into English. The next is the strategies of translation. Then the third, the technique of translation. The fourth is the problem on solution of translation. Let's begin to the first. How the translation process of Indonesian text into English. Translation process. There are 4 translation processes. The first is analyzing the situation and context. Translation is not easy as we imagine. We must understand well the languages that we want to translate. We should understand both the source language and also the target language. If we don't understand the context or the situation, we will do some mistranslation. That's why we should understand it first. And the second is use the correct grammatical structure. In English and Indonesian usually have a different structure even in the same situation. For example, if you want to say aku minum air, you can say it I drink water. But if you want to say aku minum obat, you cannot say it I drink medicine, but you should say it in English I take medicine. There is the different structure in the same situation. The next is restructuring process, and the last but not least is reread. We should read again to make sure that there isn't some mistake in our translation. The next is the strategies of translation. There are 6 strategies in my content. They involve text manipulation, must be applied to the process, global-oriented, problem-centered, applied consciously, and intersubjective. The third is the technique of translation. There are borrowing, calcu, literal translation, transposition, modulation, equivalence, reformulation, and also adaptation. The first is borrowing. Borrowing is a translation technique that involves using the same words and expressions in originality text in the target text. There are pure borrowing and natural borrowing. The pure borrowing example is Android into Android, software into software. They are the same. The next is the natural borrowing. There are computer and computer. It's typo here. The next is calco, a technique that translates foreign words or phrases into the target language by adjusting the structure of the target language. The example is beautiful girls is translated into gadis cantik. The next is literal translation. Usually this is called a literal translation or meta phrase. This means a word-of-word transformation or kata per kata. For example, I go to school is translated into aku pergi sekolah. The next, as we can see it, there are transposition, modulation, equivalence or reformation, and adaptation. And the last but not least is the problem and solution of translation. The first is the understanding the purpose of translation. When the client needs something to be translated, there will be a goal of the text, and it needs to be understood that the final destination will help the translator to be successful. For example, the texts are translated for legal purposes are subject to the original text rather than being used for marketing purposes. It's different than Translating text for marketing purposes requires a certain flow or ideas and feelings. It also different again when we translate a poem or a song. We they have additional difficulty of not only reflecting the meaning but also the soul, sound and energy of the original text. The second one is ambiguity in text. A very specific vocabulary and specific grammatical structure will cause difficulties in the translation of unclear meaning. An experienced translator with a good knowledge from both language can avoid this difficulty and ensure that translated documents will reflect the original meaning and context meaning. The last but not least is the culture sensitivity. We sometimes forget about the culture sensitivity when we do the translation language. Language is intrinsically also related to culture. It's important to know that translation also pays close attention to this, especially when we translate a traditional text. Even a professional translator can also struggle with these translation difficulties. They are very aware of the differences in structure, language, and context between two languages. I think that's all that I can say it. And see you in the next video.